Alright, now we are ready to get into the final part of our chapter 11, which is per unit subsidy. Okay, now if you understand what was going on with per unit tax, then I think per unit subsidy is going to be relatively easy to grasp. Okay, except one thing, maybe the graphical approach is a little bit more difficult, right? Now, so for these few videos, I'll try to make it shorter. Okay, now let's start talking about what is a per unit subsidy. Basically, it's the opposite of a per unit tax. Okay, per unit tax, you take away some money from the producer, while in this case you give money to the producer to produce something, right? Now what is the objective? Okay, mainly the objective is to encourage production, okay, or encourage consumption. Basically, encourage the quantity to increase. Okay, 好嘛？ Now for example, let's say we have subsidy for the for yes university 係咪啊？大學學位啦，點解要資助你啊？鼓勵啲人讀大學咯。OK 好嘛 ？Encourage and increase in the quantity of tertiary education. OK 好嘛？嗱 ，so what happens is that we know with a subsidy 有津貼啦，唔好玩啊，價計跌啦，係咪 ？Price would drop, while the quantity transacted very hopefully it's going to increase, right? Now remember, in our syllabus, the subsidy is given to the producer, not the consumer, right? Now, therefore, demand would remain unchanged, while the supply would increase. Because think of it like this, right? A subsidy is basically decrease the production cost. 你可以當住係先。Okay, when we are in chapter 13, it's not exactly the case, right? But we can think of it like as if the production cost has decreased. Therefore, our supply would increase. Okay, now here, P decrease, Q increases. 係嘛？而家 P 跌 Q 升。Do you know what happens to total expenditure? It is actually uncertain. Okay, while for total revenue 點計呢？ This time, it is total expenditure plus subsidy. Okay? In fact, 99% of the cases, it's going to increase. Think about it from the objective perspective. You give a subsidy to encourage the producer to produce more, right? 喂，如果佢攞完 subsidy 反而賺少咗 somehow revenue decreases after after subsidy, right? It doesn't make sense. 係咪？收少嘅錢梗係唔做咁多啦，係咪？ Then it will be counterintuitive to the objective, right? Now, therefore, with this logic, very likely 99% of the cases is going to increase. So the 1% of the case obviously would be on some extreme cases. Okay? 嗱，但係記住喎 government also plays a part in the whole process. Now, therefore, we also know that government, the expenditure 係咪？唔係無中生有㗎嘛？ They are going to have some government expenditure. Okay, 好嘛？嗱 I think the concept is easy. What's difficult is actually the graphical part. 嗱 subsidy 最難係 graphical 呢 part 啊。嗱 so again, like what I used to say for the previous two videos, okay? Now, you need to watch this part twice. First time, do not copy, just look at me. Then replay the part and draw with me. 係咪睇咗一次先？你唔好懶醒，你真係上嚟，你唔好懶醒，你懶醒會話錯 ，OK？ 好嗎？ Now here, let's begin with this. Okay, our very normal demand curve. Okay, let's call this D1. Now this time, let's have some buffer space. This is our S1. Then we know this is our subsidy, right? Therefore, 記住啦 subsidy counterintuitively, it is actually a downward shift, 向下 shift 嘅 ，OK? But this is an increase in supply, OK? 好嘛 S2, and this is what we call subsidy. 好啦，嗱小心啲咯喎。Do you remember when I was teaching per unit tax, I mentioned The important one is Q2。Q2 係重要嗰個 ，Q1 唔係重要嗰個。Here we have Q1, we have P1, we have P2。OK 得唔得？記住係 Q2 呢個重要。Why is it important? Because in subsidy we also need to indicate the part of the subsidy received by the producer, right? So let's see. Since we are selling at Q2 unit and the vertical distance, 記住啦 vertical distance, this is the per unit subsidy, and we are selling Q2 units. Now therefore, this one, this whole box, red box, this is the total subsidy. Now obviously, I think now you should know we are going to break it down very soon in the next video, break it down into consumer subsidy benefits and producer subsidy benefits, but let's leave it for now. OK 好嘛？你見啊，好騎呢㗎 because this time things actually go beyond Q1 係好核突㗎。It crosses the cross here， 你見係超越咗個交叉點，好核突㗎。But it is correct. Therefore, I keep mentioning， 唔該你考試小心啲。你畫咗 Q2 先，我成日都話啦，考試唔怕神一般嘅對手，只怕豬一般嘅自己啊嘛。OK， you can trick yourself. So make sure you don't trick yourself。嗱係咪啊？ Q1 is very tempting， 好容易畫咗前面 ，but no， you draw it at Q2。OK， 得唔得 ？Alright， now so graphically it looks like this. Now let's look at how we do it in table form. OK， 你知答案㗎啦呢個，好嘛？唔講啦，我哋見咗太多次啦。Now suppose the government impose a per unit subsidy of $2. Okay, now last time we spent a lot of time to break it down into two tables, right? I think by now you should know how to deal with it, right? 好嘛，我哋望望啦。QS originally at $5, I am willing to sell 10 units. Now the government give me $2 subsidy. 咦，政府俾2蚊津貼我喎，我使唔使收到5蚊先做10件啊 ？Do I need $5? No, I actually only need $3. 原來3蚊咧，我已經肯做10件啦。Now therefore, this will be 10, 8, 6, etc. Now these two we do not know. Okay, 好嘛 ？So we know that the new equilibrium is actually at here. Okay, at here. The price, new equilibrium price is $2, which you see it has dropped. 啱㗎，應該係平咗嘅市價，係咪啊 ？Quantity transacted at 8 units, which is also in line with what we mentioned, right？ 應該賣多咗㗎，係咪啊 ？Total expenditure is just P times Q here, P times Q, which would be 16 in our case. Okay, now total revenue equals to total expenditure plus subsidy, which in our case would be $16. What about total subsidy? Remember, each unit there is a $2 subsidy, and we are selling at 8 units, so times 8, and that would give us a total of $32. Okay, total revenue after tax, obviously this is not after tax, net of subsidy, obviously. Okay, 好嘛? So this is how we deal with the table form. I would say, right, for subsidy, actually table form is just the same as taxation, per unit tax, right? 最難 subsidy 嘅都係前面嗰版。When you have to practice graphical approach, which we are going to do a lot in our next video, right? Now for this video, let's just do a little bit of practice in the basic part, okay? 我哋淨係做咗啲 basic part 嗰啲先啦，好嘛？ One more page to go. Here. 嗱 DSE right 2014 2014嘅題目啦，應該唔會特別難啊。2014係咪當年唔係出得好難嘅啫。Okay, here you were given this original table, right? Originally we were at $3.80 units. Okay, now according to the above information, let's try to conclude anything. Okay. The total sales revenue would be $200 when the price is $2. Okay, let's see. When the price is $2, we know that we are going to sell 75 units. Okay, 2 times 75, not 200. It should be 150, right? So A 唔啱啦。Now what about B? There will be a shortage when the government impose a price floor at $4. 我哋望一望啦。Price floor, remember, floor is a minimum price, 唔可以低過4蚊。So, for it to be effective, it needs to be above equilibrium. In which this case, you will see, this price floor is actually effective. 因為佢高過 equilibrium, so it is effective. In this case, quantity supplied would be larger than quantity demanded, okay? Which means this is actually a surplus, not shortage. So unfortunately, B is not correct. Now let's see C and D. When a per unit subsidy of $2 was granted to the seller, okay? 我哋試一試啦。What happens if a $2 subsidy was given? Okay, it goes like this. Let's cross it all out. It should become like this. Originally, $5, I'm making 120 units. Now, do I need $5? No. I need 120, 180. This I do not know. So the new equilibrium would actually becomes $2, 100 units. Okay, so let's see. Total revenue, including the subsidy, would increase by 160. 小心啊，唔係160，係升160啊。So let's do the calculation. Originally, it was 240. Now, it is 200. Mama, no, it's not correct. Remember to include the subsidy. Okay, what is the subsidy here? 200 plus $2 per unit. We are selling 100. That means we are going to have 400. Okay, 240 versus 400. Definitely, total revenue has increased by 160. 啱啊，呢個由240去到400蚊。Okay, then finally, the equilibrium price would drop to 1. No. We know it's 2, right? 係咪？ It should be 2. So D is not correct. Okay, one more, and then we move on to the next video. Okay, 好嘛？2016年啦。Okay, again, 2016 means trouble. 一定唔方好嘢啦，係嘛？ So let's look at this table, right? A very normal table. Originally, okay, here you have $60. Okay, here $60, 10 units. This is the original equilibrium. Okay, when the government provides a per unit subsidy on the goods, so let's see what would happen. Okay, originally $90, I make 16. Now I don't need $19. 70 will be good enough. 12, 10, then I don't know. So the new equilibrium would actually becomes this $50, 12 units. Let's see. Total revenue including the subsidy would be 840. let's see this 我哋 A 計下係嘛 obviously the market price times 12 plus per unit subsidy $20 per unit times 12 and that would give us this one would be here 600 plus 240 840 so yes somehow A already the answer. Now let's look at B, C and D. Okay, total subsidy granted by the government. No, we know that it should be 240. 係咪頭先計咗啦 240 not 200 so B is not correct. Okay, within the range of the original and new market price elasticity smaller than 1計唔計到啊計到 Okay, you have two ways. First you can follow Adam's way 係咪 Adam 隔住個 mon 都要編下你試啊係嘛 You can follow Adam's way the true way of calculating arc elasticity. Okay, now which you can do no problem 係可以嘅 but second way you can just look at how total expenditure changes, right? Original total expenditure was 600, right? 睇先600 now the new total expenditure also 600咦由600變成600 is there any 係咪600 yes it does not change. Okay, total revenue total expenditure remains unchanged. Okay, so what is the case of remaining unchanged? It's actually ED equals to 1 unitarily elastic demand. So C is also not correct. Oh, D, the change in total revenue of its complement is uncertain. No, it's actually very certain. Now think about it. Here, we know the quantity increased. So, if it is in a complementary relationship, then what happens? We know that demand for the complement would increase. P increase, Q increase, total revenue must increase. Okay, so it is actually not uncertain. We are very certain it's going to increase. Okay, 好嘛? So that will be the basic part of per unit subsidy. In the next video, we are moving on to the very troublesome part of the per unit subsidy, talking about subsidy benefit. Okay, so see you again very soon in the next video.